At the end of week 2 of Pac-10 play, we're looking tonight at a couple of teams that are trying to break losing streaks and earn their first victory in conference play. Arizona State against Washington and Seattle. And as you look at the way things have played out through the first week and change in the conference, well, UCLA unbeaten no longer. Watch USC and Washington State. They've been great surprise stories, and so there's some pressure. You don't want to lose any more ground as we welcome you in to college ball on FSN. Along with Bob Weiss and Tom Kuiper, I'm Brian Davis. Bobby, some people surprised about Washington's 0-3 start in conference play.
Well, I don't think it's that surprising. 2 tough road games, and then you come home with Arizona. 2 difficult wins. This is a work in progress. They're going to be fine.
The Sun Devils, Tom, have lost 4 consecutive ball games. What do they need to do to achieve a result here tonight?
Yeah, the Sun Devils, there's no question. They've got to slow the game down. They've got to control the tempo. And if they can do that and not let Washington shoot as much, you know, Washington's used to scoring 86 points. ASU 64, so they've got to slow things down tonight.
Maybe the Sun Devils could take a page from Washington State, which last year did slow it down against the Huskies and swept the season series. For Lorenzo Romar, a change in the starting lineup, bringing Quincy Pondexter off the bench. He hit Arizona for 25. Let's see what he's got tonight. Tip-off next at the B of A in Seattle. Washington carried a number 24 national ranking into its game against Arizona on Thursday night here at the Bank of America Arena. The Wildcats wound up winning by 9, shooting 65%. Arizona State defeated on Thursday by 20 at Washington State. The freshman Polk and the sophomore Pendergraph have been carrying a lot of the mail. Serge Anguno has to pick it up tonight. He was held off the score sheet in Pullman. He's got to do better to deliver for the coach, Herb Sendak.
Yeah, and Herb Sendak, this is his first year as the head coach at Arizona State, and he has played the University of Washington twice. He's got a 1-1 record with them. Both of those meetings coming while he was the head coach at North Carolina State.
The Huskies also a young side. Their leading scorer is the freshman Spencer Hawes. Their leading rebounder is the sophomore captain John Brockman. Lorenzo Romar got a nice game, Bob, out of Phil Nelson, the freshman from Kaiser, Oregon, who made his first start the other night.
Well, he's still trying to experiment with who can do what on this team, and it's important that some of these players learn to come off the bench, learn to start. Nelson responded very well in the starting position. Pondexter responded very well coming off. Big game offensively, and when he comes off, he can change the flow of the game for you.
Brooke Olzendam is also with us on the broadcast tonight, and Brooke, sometimes when you change things up, it affects the rhythm of a basketball team. How have the Huskies viewed this change that Romar made on Thursday?
Well, the shift in lineup at least had a positive change on Justin Denton. He was the first guy in the gym today an hour early before shootout and looked more focused than I've seen him all year. Phil Nelson says the new starters are happy about their new position as long as coach still thinks it will help the team come out quicker. Now the 3 consistent starters say they don't care who also starts the game with them because they all bring something different to the team. John Brockman even told me, hey, all the guards get the ball down low to me the same amount, so they're all good by me. So it might be different personnel, but it's the same preparation.
Brooke, you raise a great point. Bobby and Tom, let's talk about the concept of the chess game that coaches have to play. And sometimes you make a move not because a starter is playing poorly, but because you want to strengthen your bench.
Well, you want to strengthen the bench. They were a little concerned with turnovers. They put a couple steadier, more experienced players, not Nelson, but Appleby in there. And now you're coming off the bench with more fire. Before, when you were subbing, it was 3-point shooters. Now you're getting guys that can take the ball to the hole.
Tom, in Herb Sendak's case, he doesn't play very many guys, so how do you strengthen your bench? That's a real problematic thing for him.
It is a dilemma for the Arizona State Sun Devils because they don't have that deep of a bench. And once you put Derek Glasser in the starting lineup, now you do have Jaron Shipp coming off the bench, who does average 8 points a game. When Jaron was starting, ASU did not have much scoring coming off the bench. So I think that's a smart move for the coaching staff to have Jaron Shipp, a shooter and a scorer, coming off the bench.
Huskies have beaten the Sun Devils 7 consecutive times, and off the tip, Phil Nelson has the ball in his hands, the freshman out of Kaiser, Oregon. McNary High School through Ryan Appleby. Into the post through the 7-footer Hawes. Washington early trying to pull apart the Arizona State defense, and Brockman way too strong, caught no iron in the rebound to Agunu. And at the other end, we've got a clock problem on the scoreboard to the left of our broadcast position, and so they're going to need just a moment to sort that out. They are no strangers here at the Bank of America Arena to technical problems with the timekeeping and scoreboard equipment. A couple of times we've had situations where the horn went off and failed to stop. So we've gone minutes at stretches sometimes with that kind of technical malfunction. Although, Bob, I prefer the clock malfunction to the horn never ending.
Well, Tom said Herb wanted to control the game. I think he's got the on-off switch over there. He's just going to flick that whenever he wants to slow it down.
Okay, here comes Glasser, the freshman out of Marina Del Rey, California, just outside Los Angeles. Inside to Antwi, looking now for Agunu.
And you'll see them give Antwi some space because Antwi's not a threat from the outside. They're more worried about Antwi taking the ball to the hole with his quickness.
Jeff Pendergraft leaves for Glasser. Shot clock winding down. Atuene has got to hurry, leaves it in the hands of Pendergraft. The rebound to Haas, the freshman out of Seattle Prep High School here in the city, a state champion at the 3A level a year ago. Off the feed from Oliver, he misses long.
And ASU's going to have to continue to make sure that Washington doesn't get good looks and good percentage looks at the basket.
And you know, Tom, a lot of teams have tried to control the pace. Washington, on the other hand, does a great job of putting so much pressure on you. They get you out of your offense, and just like the last time down, they took the ball all the way down, the clock all the way down, but they had a tough shot. That time, good execution.
Nice penetration into the zone for the finish by Pendergraft, who is a 58% field goal shooter.
You know, in ASU's attempt to slow things down, they're going to play the zone as much as they can tonight and hope that it will slow them down.
You can break up the zone, though, by scoring long, as Nelson has just done.
That's the downside of the zone, Brian, and we just saw it. Shooting from the outside will break a zone down.
And Nelson's been playing with so much more confidence than he did early in the year.
Glasser takes a look into the corner. Polk leaves it for Atuene spinning. Passes up the shot for Agunu, who drops one from beyond the three-point arc. Serge Agunu, 6 or 7 games before the game at Washington State the other night, had been averaging nearly a double-double, was kept off the score sheet, was just 2 turnovers away from the dreaded trillion. Where in the box score, it's your minutes played and then zeros after that.
A lot of zeros, and that's what he did at Washington State.
Brockman, nice move, skying to pound the ball off of Atuene. Keep possession for the University of Washington. Great hustle play by the captain.
And there it is. Look at that hustle. And all he could do at that point is to throw it off of a Sun Devil leg, and he accomplished it.
He's going to be in that board all night, every time.
Appleby back in the starting lineup, started the first 5 games of the season, then went to the bench in 6 games as a starter, counting the loss to Arizona on Thursday night. He is shooting 32%, well below his season average. Nelson, again from 3, a little bit long, but Nelson, Bob, has recovered the stroke that eluded him early in the season.
Yeah, he shot with no confidence for I don't know how many games, maybe 8 games or so, and then he hit a couple. But Arizona State's doing a good job with that zone of controlling the tempo. They're really making them take some time to get some shots.
Well, and you'll see ASU use this shot clock when they've got the ball. There was a travel yet, and they did get it. It was a slow whistle, but he definitely did travel.
Washington mixing it up defensively here in the first 3.5 minutes. They have played some matchup zone. They have also played more man-to-man. Quincy Pondexter replacing Oliver in the Huskies rotation. Pondexter, his first game off the bench, his freshman from California, scored a game-high 25 points on 10 of 16 shooting.
And he's a slasher, too. If they can throw the ball to him, cutting to the basket, he can make things happen.
Haas Too much air under that pass for Brockman, who just got a fingertip on it. Turnovers have been an issue for the University of Washington. 18 a game. It burned them badly at UCLA, where they gave up 34 points off of nearly 24 turns. Fellas, they are committing 4 more turnovers a game by average than they did a year ago.
And I think that's just a reflection of the youth and of so many different people handling the ball, which is a plus for this team because all of those people can make good passes. But when you do that, you also have probably more turnovers than you would if you had a point guard running the show the entire time.
Pendergraft has to reset. Fires, just floats one down over Haas. A collision under the basket. Nelson is a little slow to get up. He'll gather himself and will return. Sun Devils by 4 early in Seattle. Brian Davis, Tom Kuiper, Bob Weiss, Brooke Olzendam. In Seattle, Phil Nelson is up and moving well after taking a hard fall after a collision under the basket with a much larger Serge Anguno. But Brooke, John Brockman has also been nursing an injury. How's he doing?
Well, you know, he's tough. He's so tough he doesn't even know until after the game if he's hurt. He injured his right shoulder in the game against Weber State. He made a lay-in on a fast break and got fouled. Now, we knew it felt a little odd, but it wasn't until later that they said it was a strained upper bicep tendon. Since then, he's been icing it, exercising it, stimulating it, and getting ultrasounds. But he told me before the game that he was about 90%, but what he really wanted me to know was that he did make that free throw seconds after the foul and injury against Weber State.
Brockman will take a rest underneath. Polk was called for shoving off, trying to intercept a pass intended for Pondexter. Justin Dentman has his inbounds pass tipped by Pendergraft, nearly gets it back, but here comes Anguno sending a Tuane off to the races, and he will in the end. No finish, but he'll go to the free throw line.
Well, when we're looking at ASU, here's the zone. Now watch what happens. They're going to bring the ball to one side. They're going to swing it over here. Now watch Christian Polk. He's going to come right here, right where he needs to be on that defensive weak side. That's a good play. He just was leaning a little bit too much.
But good defense, because that was going to be a dunk if they didn't play it right. He was good, very alert.
And Christian's given up about 6 inches,
yeah.
So he did a good job of not letting them get that dunk.
Yeah, that was a set play the whole way. They're looking for that dunk, and he did not fall for it.
Antwi Tuane out of Mississauga, Ontario, just outside Toronto. He is a 53% field goal or free throw shooter and lives up to that. Splits the difference. 5-point lead is Denton, the sophomore from Carbondale, Illinois. Leaves for Nelson. Washington tries to pull apart that Sun Devil zone with some action. And ball movement pays off. The 3-ball shot by Appleby, the junior out of Stanwood, Washington, the transfer out of the University of Washington.
And there's a hot spot over there. Both of those threes were from the exact same spot.
Well, Bob, you know any shooter just loves it. The night before, they can't go to sleep when they know the other team's playing a zone, because they love to come out and just take that zone apart.
Well, you know, yeah, if you fall asleep, you've got to know where Appleby is. If you're playing a zone, you better know where he is.
Appleby left the University of Florida, which then went on to win the national championship. But for him, this is a much better fit as he comes home to the Puget Sound to play essentially in his hometown. Dentman called for a foul off the ball, so a fresh 35 for Arizona State.
Bob, when you look at that zone that ASU's been playing, the only baskets Washington has gotten off of it is from the 3, and that's kind of the bad side of a zone, and the Huskies are taking advantage of it.
Well, you know, but on the other hand, I think it's working for the Sun Devils, because you're keeping them out of the paint, you're staying out of foul trouble, and you know, if it's gonna take them 6-8 minutes to get 6 points, that's what they want.
That's exactly what they want. You're right.
And Guno had a notion to post up. Dentman had a significant size advantage, but walked with the basketball. So another turnover. The Sun Devils' second puts the ball in Washington's hands. Huskies 2 of 7 shooting so far. Gunu on Pondexter. Tough shot, rebound, grabbed by Nelson. DeHaas to Dentman, the pump fake, and let's reset. Appleby drives and floats one down, and on the rebound under the basket, Foul is called on Spencer Hawes for pushing off.
You know, if the Sun Devils have a strength, one of their biggest assets is that they rebound really well. You've got Serge Angunu and Jeff Pendergraft, who are number 1 and 4 in the Pac-10 in offensive rebounding, and they really go hard to the boards.
Well, that's been a strength, too, of Washington. So if they can combat that and keep Washington from getting those second chance points, it'll really work in their favor.
Polk misses long. Denton's rebound.
And Tom, that's another plus for the zone. It might, you know, since Arizona State University doesn't have much depth, you know, they got to keep those 2 big rebounders out of foul trouble.
Yeah,
Steps
that will protect them.
Steps wiping out the basket, fellas, that Pondexter had underneath off a nice feed inside.
Let's look at rebounding right here. Look at University of Washington. They got everybody screened off so well. The ball hits the floor. Look at right there. It's a great job of screening out. Ball hits the floor before anybody's hands.
That is good blocking out.
Glasser passed up a shot after he took Denton completely to the side, but the finish on the pick and roll.
Well, you don't see that very much from Derek Glasser. He's more of an outside threat, and you're right, Brian. He passed up the 3 to take a challenging shot underneath.
And that was a tough shot. It was across his body, but he looked like he was in control the whole time. Oh, that's the spot. He stepped off it.
Just inside.
Same angle, though.
And scores. Spencer Hawes is a pretty good passing big man, one of the best in the United States. He was the most coveted center in America, passed up amongst others University of North Carolina to stay here in Seattle and play for Lorenzo Romar. Pondexter overplays the passing lane. Showtime.
You know, when you take Pondexter out of the starting lineup, you do lose a little pressure, and so when you start the game, maybe you're able to execute your offense a little better. But both Denton and Pondexter, now all of a sudden they come in, the defense picks up.
Well, I know the Sun Devils have a lot of respect for Quincy Pondexter.
Glasser, sweet feed inside by Pendergraft, and the finish. And Glasser has himself 4 points in Arizona State, 5 of 7 shooting. Washington far more attempts. This is their 12th. Hawes is long, but gets the rebound right back, goes left-handed, +1. He will shoot with either hand, and he will go to the free throw line when we come back. Got a chance to cut the margin to a stick man. Arizona State on the high side. Sun Devils 5 of 7 from the floor. Huskies 5 of 13, but Spencer Hawes go to the free throw line to make it a 1-point game. Derek Glasser coming to play early on.
Well, and the interesting thing about Derek, he's getting his points going to the hole, going up inside with the big guys, and usually he's an outside threat.
Yeah, but he was smart there. They're overplaying you. They're trying to take you out of your offense, and the only thing you can do is, hey, take what they give you. They give you the back cuts, you got to take them.
Well, the scouting report is taking him away from outside. He'll go underneath. There's Derek Glasser's dad, Michael. And, you know, he comes to every game, lives in California. He comes to every game in Tempe, as well as all the road trips.
Hawes knocks it down. Now, here's the question I have for you about that. He could stay in Marina Del Rey, and he comes to Seattle with the weather that we've had.
And Pullman. How about that?
I don't know if he needs a medal or an X-ray. Somebody check his head. No, you know what? That kind of dedication is terrific, and you see it so much, particularly in college basketball. Atuene up and over as he tried to split the double team, but he earns himself a trip to the free throw line. Brooke Olzendam with more on the weather here has played a little havoc with both Arizona and Arizona State this weekend.
The ASU team is, they learned a similar lesson about the traffic involved. Last night they wanted to come and do a shoot around in the B of A, but the traffic at 5 o'clock, as you guys know from the airport, is horrendous. So they decided to ixnay that today. They called up Seattle Christian School, which is right next to the airport, and they did their shoot around there today rather than come up and fight the traffic.
So ixnay on the US Bay for the Utaround Shay. Atuene.
Well, it seems to be working
now
because,
from the line.
you know, so far around 71% from the field. So shoot around went well for them.
But 2A does a nice job of shutting down Denton, who had a notion for the three. The feather into the post for Haas. And again, Washington will try to pull you apart with rapid ball movement. Adrian Oliver had a career-high 8 assists against Arizona. Denton, I think, was expecting a give and go. Brockman lowers the shoulder. Oliver knocks it back to Haas for the finish.
What hustle by Oliver. He is a great rebounder for his size. I mean, he not only gets the out exterior rebounds, he goes in and gets big ones. There he knocked it loose, 2 points.
You know, Brian, now we've got Jaron Shipp in the ball game, and a lot of fans know the Shipp family. Josh Shipp, Joe Shipp, and now we've got Jaron Shipp.
Looking underneath, working on Brockman. Contact, no call. A 2A gets another shot. Oliver's rebound. Anguno can't steal it. Huskies in transition. Haas feathering and scoring. Spencer Haas, 3 of 6 from the floor. He scored 16 points against Arizona. That broke a 4-game streak in which he scored 20 or more, and he is well on his way back to that in the first half of this game tonight against Arizona State. 6 consecutive points now for Haas and the Huskies.
And Tom, a lot of times you get down there in transition and get a shot off before that zone gets set is one way to beat it.
Anguno on the feed from Shipp. Strong rebound. The put back, another offensive board for Pendergraft. Count it and send him to the free throw line. Arizona State seems to be passing up some looks to try to move the ball and eat that shot clock.
Yeah, and there you got Jeff Pendergraft going to the offensive board. Jeff Pendergraft is leading the Pac-10 in offensive rebounds. He loves going to the offensive boards.
Well, he's done something here tonight that he didn't do at Washington State the other night, and that's miss a shot from the floor. He's 3 of 6. That's not bad, but against the Huskies, he was 8 of 8 with 7 rebounds to boot. One thing, if you're Sendek, though, if you take a look at Pendergraft and Polk, the two of those guys together account for 41% of the Sun Devils' field goal attempts.
Yeah, and they've got to be able to spread that out a little bit. And Jaron Shipp at the beginning of the year came on real strong, scoring a lot of points. In the last 7 or 8 games, he's kind of slowed down a little bit, and they need him to score.
Pondexter working inside and traveling before he can take that shot against Alan Morial, who was giving him everything he could handle, staying tight enough to him that any closer and Pondexter would have been wearing him. 5th Washington turnover.
Tommy, ASU definitely has them stymied with this zone. They are not picking it apart like they have in other games.
All the way to the rack and everything but the finish for Jaron Shipp, whose brother Josh had a chance to be the hero today for UCLA, as Oregon, a game you also saw on FSN, handed the Bruins their first loss of the 2006-2007 season, and Denton, using his left arm to clear out, is called for the foul.
Yeah, I think he even grabbed Derek Glasser's shirt on the way through. That was a football straight arm move right there.
And, you know, that's another indication of frustration.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Bob. I think they're up by 1, but they're a little frustrated.
2 fouls now also on Denton. Glasser to Morrow along the baseline, and Adrian Oliver set his feet. Offensive foul. Oliver, Bob, is a very heady basketball player. Great IQ for a freshman. Now, later tonight, we have had just an explosion of college round ball today on the network, and in the Seattle area. Later on, you'll see the Sonics at Golden State, Washington State against Arizona on a side channel if you're a Comcast customer, and still more of the same coming up for our viewers in the Valley as well on FSN Arizona. Pondexter, one of 3 true freshmen on the floor right now for Washington, a little bit short. Give the Sun Devils credit. They have been bodying up the Washington shooters and forcing them to take tough shots.
You know what they're doing in this zone that I like? They're not just running over and double teaming somebody and letting you rotate the ball for open shots. It's almost a matchup or amoeba type zone where They are rotating very well. They know where the next pass is going, and they're getting out to that player, and so he's got to beat you off the dribble. They're not giving them many open shots.
Well, I think literally, guys, excuse me, they're scratching and clawing. They're working. Just Brockman's got some blood on his arm. Where from? But it's tough in the paint.
They've been working hard, and I tell you, if there's one thing about Coach Herb Sendek that everybody's excited about in Tempe and Phoenix is that he's such a smart man. They're really excited about him teaching the X's and O's and teaching this team how to play this game and using strategy. And I tell you what, Bob, if you would have asked ASU, would they want to be down by 1 point with about 8 minutes left in the first half, I think they all would have been satisfied with that at this point.
Oh,
Glasser
definitely. Maybe they're up one.
Oh, there it is. Polk with the 3 ball. That's his specialty right there. He's taken 187 shots coming into this ball game. 101 of them, fellas, from beyond the arc, and he gives the Sun Devils that 2-point lead.
And he's not exactly the kind of guy you want to hire to talk about shooting for, but he's very effective. And Tom, he told me about that, or what to look for, and there's a unique shot.
Well, when we get a chance, Bob, we're going to try and take a look at that shot.
Appleby.
There's the guy you want talking to shooting clinic.
That's right. When you've got that camp, it's Appleby that you want teaching the kids how to shoot that ball.
2 out of 3, and both of his field goals tonight are from beyond the arc. Washington back in the lead by 1 point. Oliver trying to extend Glasser all the way out to half court. Nice pick from Mora. Now the double team. ASU with numbers. Pendergraph rattling one down.
Well, I tell you, credit to Sun Devils. They are really fighting and scratching in here. They're up by 1 point with about 6.5 minutes left.
And playing with confidence.
They are.
Oliver, air ball. Brockman offensive rebound is short. Tip drill. Won by Christian Polk and the Sun Devils. 2-on-1 break, and Oliver does a great job to steal the ball and save it to Nelson.
Well, Jaron Ship just did not get down the floor. He just didn't get to that ball.
Pondexter at least earns 2 free throws. Time is taken. The joke that we've been telling around here is that when the Huskies are hungry for points, they go to Applebee's. Huskies still down 1. Christian Polk takes 25% of Arizona State's field goal attempts. He has just taken his first of the night, and it was a big one for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, and you'll see Derek Glasser taking it to the hole, getting it out to him. Now watch his left hand. If we can show that again, you'll see that Christian Polk's left hand gets a little bit too involved in it. We're going to see if we can get it again, maybe from a different angle. Left hand a little bit too involved. You'll see that on the rotation of the ball.
Right.
It kind of just looks like a knuckleball out there.
Yeah, here's a better angle. It's almost like a two-handed. Look at that. It's just a two-handed. It looks like he's throwing a lob pass to somebody.
That was Bob Cousy. Wasn't that back in your days, Bob?
Cousy didn't shoot like that. I'll tell you who shot like that. A guy named Rod Thorne, general manager of the Nets now. Was working in the commissioner's office for West Virginia. Used to shoot like that.
Quincy Pondexter goes to the free throw line. Herb Sendek always teaching, as he is right now. Pondexter misses. Polk comes out of Deer Valley High School in the Valley of the Sun, averaging almost 30 minutes a game. Could, by the end of this, as Pondexter splits the difference, could wind up challenging the freshman record at ASU set by Byron Scott, now the head coach of the New Orleans Oklahoma City Hornets, who averaged better than 32 minutes a game back in 1979-80.
Yeah, I did a lot of watching for Byron that year. That's why he got 32 minutes.
Coach Romar said that zone's working so well, we're going to try it.
Glasser's shooting over it, just missing Oliver's rebound.
And that's okay. That's what ASU wants Derek to be doing, shooting it from outside.
Haas passes out. Oliver shut down, then goes into the paint, sends it right back to the elbow, and Haas is a little bit long. Rebound to Oliver. Washington with a 15-8 advantage, and Haas another left-handed finish.
Yeah, Serge cannot find himself trailing underneath there.
Sendek needs a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, what Serge has got to do to be able to stop anybody is you've got to be able to lead your man across, not following.
Watch Nelson come in from the outside to knock that ball. He was out at the 20-foot mark when that first came. Here comes a good pass. A couple good basketball plays on that sequence. Good look away.
Look at Serge in behind. You cannot do that with these big guys from Washington. You've got to stay in front.
Washington averages 35 rebounds a game, and more than a third of those are on the offensive glass. 13 of their 35 rebounds a game at the offensive glass. You add that up, guys, in second chance points.
Well, and it's usually such a high percentage shot. When you either get a steal, you get a fast break, or when you get an offensive rebound, the defense is all over the place. You can kick it out for an open three, or a lot of times you can put it back up for possibly a three-point play with a foul.
Huskies have 7 of their 23 points on second chances here tonight.
They're going to stay in this zone until they see a three or two burn them.
Jaron Ship to Angunu. You leave your big man that far away from the basket. Does that work for the Sun Devils or against them? If he can hit it from 3, it works for you, but he misses.
Yeah, and Serge has really developed an outside game this year. Coming to this year, his first 3 seasons, he shot 6 for 33. He only made 3 shots from the 3. This year, he's already 24 out of 55. He's made 24 threes this year.
Nelson likes the 3 ball as well. It's tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Glasser. And so with 4.5 minutes remaining in the first half, Washington gets a chance to build on a 2-point lead. John Brockman had his 6th double-double of the season at UCLA. 16 points on 6 of 9 shooting, 8 rebounds against Arizona in the 9-point loss on Thursday night.
It's strange in this game to look up and see UW with the lead, because it seems you get the feel that ASU is outplaying them right now.
Yeah, I think what Washington has done so well too, Bob, is they've gone to the boards. You know, there has to be an advantage for Washington. They've always got 3 big guys out on the floor, where ASU has only got 2 big guys. So that's a little bit of advantage in the paint and on the boards for the Huskies.
Well, as of last timeout, it was 8-12 favor Washington, and Washington had 6 offensive boards to ASU's 3.
Well, look out on the floor now. You've got Nelson, you've got Brockman, you've got Haas for the Huskies.
Well, and Appleby leaves Glasser, and Glasser again has got the touch from range, and he makes him pay.
Yeah, he shoots the ball too well to be able to give him that kind of a look. You got to have somebody rotating the hip.
Haas in the collision, throws it up into the basket. Big Ten rules, no harm, no foul, and the Husky faithful are letting the officials know about that. Haas was sandwiched as he went to the glass. Romar is livid. Oliver slaps the ball out of Atuane's hands, but he gets it to Pendergraft, cleaned up. The skip pass to Polk.
You know, that last play, I think Haas was so out of control that they just weren't going to give him a foul on that. It wasn't, you know, he made it look worse than it was.
And Gunu was called for reaching over the back. So it's Washington ball. Glasser has the Sun Devils up by a point. Derek Glasser, the freshman from Marina Del Rey, California, has hit another 3-point basket. Glasser with 7 points, and so Sendek has got to be happy with that, because Glasser averages not even 4 points a game. The other thing he's got to be happy about is that with 3 minutes remaining in the first half, a team that is 6th in the nation, averaging 86 points a game, has 23.
Yeah, Derek's got the potential to score a lot. His high this season is 16 points.
Washington, 9 of 24 as you look at the percentages. Arizona State, 9 of 19. But Appleby is 3 out of 3 beyond the arc. 9 points. That is a game high to share honors with Haas, and Washington is back in the lead.
Boy, what the Huskies did so well there, they threw the ball into the middle. ASU collapsed, leaving Appleby wide open. That's the way you break down a zone.
And I wonder if those guys are getting a bonus for shooting off of the Bank of America sign on the floor over there, because that's where they're hitting all the threes. It must be an advertising thing.
Oh, Pendergraft powering over the 7-footer Haas to score.
Boy, they are fighting. I'm telling you what, they are hanging tight with the Huskies right now. They're working, they're giving everything they've got.
And Gunu picks up Haas on the block. Appleby takes it back out. And inside, the feed to Brockman in the low post, +1.
And look how the Huskies are working that zone. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a pass to the middle. Everybody collapses. Throw it outside. Wide open. That's the way you break down a zone. Now you're going to the high post. Dump it down to the low. Picture perfect zone offense.
Yeah, and you got when you got a 7-footer that can make those passes, it really helps. And Brockman moves very well without the ball on top of that.
UCLA is very happy. Next year we'll have Kevin Love out of Lake Oswego, Oregon, near Portland. Another really good passing big man, but folks around here will tell you that between the two of them, they take Haas. Of course, Ben Howland at UCLA will take his guy, and Pendergraft is going to go to the free throw line as he is sandwiched and fouled. 8 lead changes and 3 ties through the passing inside.
Look at Antwi penetrating, dishing off. That's what you want to do when you feel that pressure coming to you. That's when you deal the ball.
You know, it's a very unusual attack to take a guard and have him be the guy that slices in there, but he seems so comfortable with his back to the basket and making things happen in the paint, and he's a good passer out of there.
Yeah, Antwi Atuni, they love posting him up. They love him going to the basket.
What's going on here, guys? Now you got little guys going to the basket. You got 7-footers working the high post and passing the ball inside.
Well, you got coaches that think outside the box. You know, they know who has the talent and where they're good, and that's the sign of a good coach. It may not look orthodox, but it gets the job done.
Well, if you had to put a game plan together, I think ASU has done it, and they've stuck to it, holding the Huskies to 29 points with just a minute and a half left in the first half. That's where ASU wants to be.
Appleby over a leaping Pendergraft, penetrates and scores. Appleby with a game-high 11. Appleby, Oliver, Haas, Pondexter, and Brockman on the floor for Washington. And Gunu, Glasser, Ship, 2-A, and Pendergraft for Arizona State.
Washington may be figuring this zone out. They've scored the last three times down. They've gotten the ball into the paint, then out for one jump shot, in for a layup, and that time they were swinging the ball on a drive. So we'll see if they get it figured out.
Jaron Ship from beyond the NBA three-point arc, and Gunu battling, missing, gets it back with Brockman all over him. Passed out to Anguno, and Glasser will set up Arizona's offense again. Final minute of the first half. The slowdown game has paid off for the Sun Devils.
And battling was a good description of that last rebounding series, because that was, you don't want to go in that paint unless you're a man in this game.
I don't think the scorekeepers can count that high. Anguno trying that long-range shot, and underneath, the foul committed by Pendergraft, who shoved off on one of Washington's bigs. That is his second personal.
I don't think that's the shot that ASU wanted to end the first half with. Serge was a little too far out to put that up.
Too far out and with too much time on the clock.
That's exactly right. Huskies are going to take a timeout here and talk about this last shot that they want to take.
They want to control the ball. They want the last shot. They don't want to give ASU a chance to come down and get one.
Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here with every unforgettable moment. Every night on FSN, it's the only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The FSN Final Score airs tonight on FSN. Check your local listings. Is he proposing or just making time, huh?
I think he's doing all right either way.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Appleby. He only had eyes for her. Shot clock is off. Washington working for the final shot of the first half, and a 3-point lead out of bounds to Arizona State. And the Sun Devils, with 7 seconds, have plenty of time to work one up for themselves.
Yeah, they went a little early on that. Left them 7 seconds. Even if they had scored, they'd have left a lot of time.
And we're going the other way. Angunu mugging Pondexter as Glasser fired across the half line.
Boy, that's too bad, too. Serge setting that pick, leaning a little bit and throwing a shoulder maybe too much.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bob?
You know, from that angle, you could see the shoulder. And when he ran it the first time, I didn't see it. But there, with that angle, you could see it. It was a good call.
Appleby misses not by much. Washington slowed down by Arizona State's deliberate pace and zone defense. But the Huskies, as they try to rebound from 3 consecutive losses to open the Pac-10 schedule, will go to the locker room tonight with a 3-point lead over the Sun Devils of Arizona State, who came to Seattle with a 4-game overall losing streak. ASU also 0-3 in Pac-10 play. We're going to hear in a moment from Lorenzo Romar. Somebody needs to tell those guys. We saw the love glasses a minute ago. Now we got Halloween. Brooke Olzendam with Romar in front of the Husky bench. Brooke?
Coach, you guys are hitting your threes, but overall, how well do you think you're executing the offense?
Oh, we're doing okay. We got to do a better job of getting stops. After the first timeout or first 1 or 2 timeouts, they were shooting 70%, and we got it down to 50. We went into the zone. They hit a 3. They got one inside, but we kind of stopped them at that point. But we got to come out in the second half, play some defense.
Well, you guys want this win, but Arizona State looks just as hungry. How do you stop them from gaining momentum in the second half?
Got to play defense.
All starts with defense?
That's right.
Good luck, Coach.
One thing that works, Brooke, is that, well, for instance, Arizona came in here and shot 65% on Thursday night. Arizona State at 44%, Huskies at 43%. Board wars have helped them 16-12, but Washington with a 3-point lead at the break at the B of A. Washington turned the ball over early, but then recovered its form in terms of protecting the basketball and rallied. Arizona State had led in the early stages. Now coming up next on FSN, college basketball aplenty for our viewers in the Seattle area. NBA ball, Golden State at home against the Seattle Sonics, who are trying to break a 10-game road losing streak. Here the Puget Sound, Washington State and Arizona against Arizona in Pullman. That on FCS Pacific, channel 415 on Comcast. In the Valley of the Sun on FSN Arizona, and everywhere else you may be catching our signal tonight. Coming up, Washington State at Arizona. See, looking for a Seahawks score. Huskies by 3 going second half. A shootout at the Bank of America Arena, more like a wrestling contest. Washington looking for its first Pac-10 win. Jeff Pendergraph averaging 12 points a game. He's got that in the first half.
Well, that's the outside-inside attack by Jeff Pendergraph. There was his outside jumper. Now he goes strong underneath. Derek Glasser doing the same thing. Derek Glasser hitting a jumper from outside. Right there for that 3. And then also the other side of Derek taking it to the hole on a backdoor cut. Up nice and strong, Derek Glasser.
Sun Devils are looking for their first Pac-10 victory. Their leading scorer, Polk, has only taken 1 shot as we look now at Washington in the first half. Call it 3 ball.
And Appleby's having a good... Now, here's how you attack the zone. When you get into the paint and then kick it out, you often get a really good shot. Here's a good rotation. A lot of times you can penetrate against the zone. Brockman's been having his troubles. Well, look at Oliver, knock it loose for a second chance point, and the second chance points have been the difference in the game.
Spencer Hawes delivering on 4 of 9 shooting to lead the Huskies. Check that. Appleby leads the Huskies with 11 points. Hawes right behind at 9 in ASU possession to begin the second half. Glasser driving on the big men and scoring. curling around Hawes, getting past Brockman as he takes it to the rack. Wow.
And we just saw that in that highlight show right there. Derek Glasser, outside-inside game tonight.
Well, they got caught in a switch there. Spencer Hawes got caught out there at 20 feet. And that's not where he wants to be on a point guard.
Christian Polk with only the 1 3-point shot left Appleby alone for his 4th triple of the night. He's got 14 points, 4 of 5 shooting.
And the Sun Devils cannot afford just to trade back and forth baskets. They've got to hit a basket and then get a stop.
Underneath, they were looking for the alley-oop. And underneath, along the baseline, foul against Sun Devils.
That was actually good execution, but the pass was off.
Look at Derek Glasser going to the hole in between 2 big guys. Look at that, Derek Glasser.
And this is a guy who averages only, well, 3.8, so let's call it 4 points a game. He's got 9. 9 turnovers now for Arizona State. Hawes bothered. Brockman quick to the basketball, and another opportunity for the Huskies, but the shot clock is running down. Remember, Hawes didn't find iron. Looking for the alley-oop to Brockman was Oliver, and he is fouled by Pendergraft. That is 3.
Boy, and that foul just bailed the Huskies out. They only had 3 or 4 seconds left on that shot clock. Now they get a fresh 35.
Check that. That's a Gunu. It's still his 3rd personal foul. Brockman over, and Gunu to score.
A great pass by Nelson. He has a great feel for the basketball game.
Devils got to be careful here because they cannot let this thing slowly slip away. They're down by 6 already.
And Guno's showing a little bit of frustration. The officials have let him play at times in the low post with contact, and Gunu got popped in the face. Didn't like the fact that that was not noticed by the referees, and showed a little frustration as he inbounded that ball at the other end. Glasser to the rack and to the free throw line.
Well, I think Derek Glasser's just feeling it tonight. He's really taking that ball strong to the hole. He hasn't done that a whole lot this season so far.
He must not have read the press notes. He doesn't know what he's averaging.
Nor does he know how short he is compared to the Huskies underneath.
I know. Spencer Hawes, he takes it right to him.
Glasser's not a bad free throw shooter. He's now on the season. Well, came in at 6 of 9. Is 1 of 1 tonight, so make it 7 of 10. That's another reason if you want to get to the free throw line, you might as well attack the rim, because if you don't score, you're going to get to the line.
Not only do you get to the line, but the also good thing about causing fouls is that you put the other team in foul problems, and you eventually will put players on the bench because of it.
Talked at the break about Washington being able to control the early turnovers after the start that gave Arizona State the lead. Now they turn it over for the 9th time tonight. 9 turns aside.
And those foul problems, that's one luxury that the Huskies have. They are so deep. They got so many guys you can throw in there, and they all know how to play basketball.
2-A setting pick. Glasser for Polk. Out of bounds. And so a couple of times down the floor now, ASU has turned the ball over and giving Washington a chance to build on a 4-point lead. That's 10 turns. ASU averaging 16 a season. Washington forcing the other guy into 16 a game. That is 2 fewer than a year ago. And the fact that they're committing 4 on their own, that is a 6 turnover turnaround. Want me to say that in English? Pondexter forced into a tough shot as he tries to shoot it over Pendergraft. Whoa.
I think you're being kind. I don't think he was forced into a tough shot. I think he took a tough shot. He had some people open on the perimeter there.
You know, Bob, you're talking about the depth of ASU and what they don't have much of it. You've got Serge on the bench now with a little bit of foul trouble, so you put Alan Morrell in. He is averaging just over 1 point a game.
Morrell gives it up. The ball winds up in Glasser's hands, and again Arizona State will play the zone at the defensive end and work the shot clock down. A 2-A inside to Morrell, who is fouled on his way up. Let's see who Chris Rastatter, the official, got. He got Pondexter for his second. Watch this inside game, fellas.
Look at Antwi bringing the defense over, freeing Al Morrell up underneath, and that's what you want to do with the penetration. Draw the defense to you.
He loves that paint, and he can make things happen in there.
That is his strength. You're right, Bob. It's not the outside game. It's what he does underneath with the ball.
Morrell missing his first free throw. Pondexter to the bench. Morrell was 3 of 3 from the floor at Washington State, but outside of Pendergraft, Christian Polk, and this includes Morrell's numbers the other night. The rest of the team is 11 of 26 from the floor. Washington misfiring on the offensive end, and it remains a one-possession basketball game. Denton chasing Glasser up the floor.
And ASU continues to have them just a little out of sync. You know, Denton had a good shot there and passed it up. Time before that, they got Pondexter taking a tough one.
Denton now coming off the bench and limited to 7 minutes as he continues to play an unsteady game despite the best efforts this morning at the shoot-around, as Brooke Olzendam told us, despite the best efforts of the coaching staff to build him up. Shot clock inside 5. Glasser is popped, loses control. Haas, the outlet to Nelson. Dittman in transition. Rimming, Nelson's rebound, and he just misses Pendergraft. Oh, Glasser put the arm out. I don't know that Denton had his feet set, but Glasser appeared to shove off. Time taken with the Huskies leading 3. Washington's men got a lot of the preseason props, but the women have done a real nice job. June Doherty's crew with 9 consecutive victories in the Pac-10. There are 9 consecutive victories overall, 5 to start the Pac-10 season. And tomorrow at Arizona State from Tempe, we'll have it starting at 11:30 right here on FSN. Did Glasser shove off, or did he not extend the arm?
Let's
you
look
make
at
the
it
call.
right there. He pushes off. I don't know if the feet were set yet, Bob. I don't know what you saw. Here he comes again. Look, his feet are moving a little bit.
Yeah, it's that was a tough one because he was moving. The arm did go out. I don't know if it's as much of a push as it was just contact. So flip a coin, blow the whistle. You know, we got to look at it 3 times, and we're not sure. So you know, how can you criticize a guy that's out there sees it once?
Glasser's second foul, and Gunu has 3. Denton into the paint, floats it long. Pendergraft's rebound. This guy who, with 9.5 a game, leads the Sun Devils off the glass, and he gets another one, his 4th of the night. Again, Washington now having a little trouble getting the ball to go down, and Arizona State remains within 3. Washington in the 2-3 zone. Inside, Pendergraft found by Polk. The reverse as he reaches all the way around Haas to score.
Well, that was set up on top, and Haas just didn't get back in time to pick Jeff up.
No, well, you know, with a pick and roll, you need the back help. You can't just do it all by yourself.
Now, Phil Nelson does also like to go to the rack, and he likes to finish with a little bit of flourish. Your Honor, Exhibit A.
Using his high jumping experience there.
Yeah. Well, he's got springs now. He's a state championship caliber high jumper in Oregon.
What did he jump, 6'8"?
Yeah, I think that's right. Not bad for a guy who's what, 6'7"?
Yeah, Derek Glasser just a little bit too much dribbling out there, and the eventual fall of that is that you lose the ball.
4th turnover this half. Sun Devils only turned it over 8 times the first 20 minutes of the game. Now Glasser will sit Jaron Shipp, whose brother Josh had a chance to be the hero for UCLA at the end in Oregon, onto the floor. And as you mentioned earlier, Tom Kuiper, Joe was an all Pac-10 player at California in 2003. He was the team's MVP 2 years running. Off the pick from Haas, Nelson right back to him. Polk does a nice job of playing around the screen. Appleby, nice reversal back to the free throw line to Nelson, but he can't knock it down. Nelson is 2 of 6 on the night. Washington is 15 out of 37, 41%. Offense in the second half is moving like a snail's pace. Washington 3-9 since intermission. Tuane finds Pendergraft. A little bit long. Ship battling, takes it away from Brockman.
You don't see that often. Not many guys take the ball away from Brockman.
And the student section wanted to travel on that, but I think Antwi got it off before he hit the ground.
Blocked by Nelson. There are those springs again on the defensive end.
I think he was on the ground, but he didn't move his pivot hip.
We got Antwi going up strong, and there's the block.
That's a guy, Nelson, with 4 inches worth of advantage. Nelson now takes a seat. It's Dentman, Haas, Oliver, Appleby, and Brockman for Washington. Ship and Gunu, Tuane, Pendergraft, and Polk for Arizona State.
Great patience, but they're running out of time. They're about to take a tough one now.
I think that has been part of the Sun Devils' MO.
Well, yeah, I mean, why shoot the ball and miss it at 10 seconds when you can shoot the ball and miss it at 35?
Oh, Appleby nearly stripped by Polk.
I don't know if that's exactly how the coach would describe it.
It's one of the advantages of being up here. Bob Weiss, along with Tom Piper, Brooke Olzendam on the floor, Brian Davis, Adrian Oliver with the three-point shot.
Boy, Washington is spot back up to a 6-point lead, but the Devils just won't let him get any farther than that. They keep fighting.
Huskies are 6-9 beyond the arc. 6 is the Huskies' largest lead of the night.
And it's happened twice in the second half, but the Devils won't let it get any more than that.
Tuane over the trees and scoring off the glass. He was already behind the backboard when he launched that one over Haas.
That was a horse shot. He's behind the backboard. Shoots a curveball.
That was horse shot. Haas spinning. Brockman rebounding and scoring. John Brockman timely. He's 2 of 6 from the floor. Check that 3 of 7. 7 points to go along with 7 rebounds.
And it's Bob, what you talked about at the halftime was Washington getting too many second chance, too many second opportunity shots.
I didn't say too many. I said it was about the right amount. If you're calling from ASU, it's too many.
Jeff Pendergraft, the sophomore from Etiwanda, California, added 35 pounds, missed time after leg surgery, but he is still so strong.
One of the problems has been double teaming, but there he dribbles out of it strong and goes up. Now we get a little whoop-de-doo here underneath for 2. Good move by Jeff. Look at the excitement. He's ready to go.
Yeah, if he could get a little energy in this game, he'd be all right. Now watch the zone. Here's a problem with the zone. They left Oliver and then went over just, without having to switch, leaves a guy wide open for a jump shot.
Washington at the other end on the strength of Oliver's triple has taken back a 3-point lead. Washington 6 of 9 beyond the arc, second chance points. A lot of offensive rebounding for the Huskies, and it's paid off in a 9-point advantage.
That's the difference right there. 11-2 on second chance points. Bingo, that's it.
Dentman gets it back from Oliver. Probes the lane, gets underneath Glasser, and misses. Pendergraft with his 8th rebound.
Tom, one other problem with the zone sometimes is that you don't have a specific man. So when the shot goes up, you're not in blockout position, and sometimes you give up those offensive rebounds.
Tuane from the corner. Brockman a little bit late, and it is back to a 1-possession basketball game as Antwi Tuane, a 24% three-point shooter, connects from the corner in front of his own bench.
Well, this is ASU's night. when Antwi starts hitting from the 3 as well.
Oliver tries to respond. Jaron Ship, the freshman from Fairfax High School in Los Angeles, with the rebound. Glasser is long. Took that so early in the shot clock. Pondexter for the alley-oop. Oliver and Brockman in the neighborhood. I think that Pondexter was looking for his fellow Californian. They both from the Central Valley in California. Another turnover.
You know, that was an early shot, but I wouldn't consider it a bad shot. You know, you got a three-point shooter. He's coming off a screen. He's been having a great night. Not bad to pull the trigger. Tom, you mentioned a little bit ago, hey, this is an important time. They're down 6, and they got to stay in the ball game. They've come back.
Down by 3 and the ball.
Artem Wallace is on the floor for Washington. Wallace has not played since the UCLA game.
Well, both teams have made a key substitution because ASU has also taken Jeff Pendergraph out of the game, putting Alan Morrell in.
Pondexter is called underneath the basket for another foul as we take a look at the sophomore from Toledo, Washington. Down Interstate 5, headed toward Portland. Pondexter with 3 personal fouls. Pondexter tonight 1 of 4. 3 points, and following up a 25-point performance against Arizona in here the other night. And Gunnar is also playing with 3 fouls. Working his way to the elbow as Glasser sets up, waits for a screen. Brockman does a nice job off the defensive switch. Glasser to the painted area and to the rim, and a miss. Glasser tonight 4 of 8 shooting. Dentman leaves his man for Brockman underneath, and he scores with the left hand.
And that's a scoring transition. They never got that zone set up.
ASU a little careless with the ball there. They cannot afford to turn the ball over. Every possession is so critical.
You know, especially when you're not out rebounding the other club. And right now, at least 11 to 6 on offensive rebounds as of the last timeout.
Christian Polk isn't even moving. He's out of your screen right now. I wonder if that's frustration. He's not been involved offensively tonight. He's this team's leading scorer. Morrill is long. Polk back on defense. Oliver puts it on the floor, goes left-handed, and earns himself a trip to the free throw line. Morrill is called for the personal foul.
And look at him splitting the seams in there, going in strong. It's a way, again, to break down that zone defense. Spread it out. When you find a seam, take it through it.
Adrian Oliver is one of Washington's better free throw shooters at 67%. His night tonight, 4 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. Washington's ball distribution, 12 assists on 18 made baskets, 7 on 14 for the Sun Devils. 2 out of 2 from the line. It's a 7-point lead, and Washington continues to creep away, now a 7-point advantage.
That's their biggest lead so far. Again, critical possession for the Devils.
Oliver overplays it. A 2-and-A. To Anguno, passes it up. Glasser beyond the arc. Pondexter fouled him. He's going to get 3 at the line, and Pondexter has 4 personal fouls.
Well, you don't want to foul a jump shooter. You sure don't want to foul a jump shooter when you got 3 against on you already.
Now the foul happened because Pondexter's jumping from a long jump. See, he's coming from way over there. That's why that foul. If you go straight up, then you don't get that foul.
And as he watched the shot, he drifted into Glasser. Little unlucky, but contact is contact.
That's that long jump.
Glasser did a nice job, though, of also selling it.
Yeah.
Pondexter sits. Phil Nelson back on the floor. Two out of three for Glasser. And ASU is back within 5. Have they played a lick of man-to-man tonight?
No, it's been 100% zone.
That's a trend buster.
They did it one other time this year, and that was against California at Tempe.
Oliver finds Brockman, fouled by Pendergraft. 3 on Pendergraft. Brockman gets a chance to extend the Huskies' lead mid-second half. College basketball on FSN is brought to you by Sterling Savings, the perfect fit bank. John Brockman to the free throw line. Brockman and Spencer Hawes. Hawes is a 60% field goal shooter, 4 of 11 tonight, but Brockman is getting his opportunities now in the latter stages. He's 4 of 8 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 9 points. But here's what's significant. Since LSU, Brockman and Hawes have combined to score 35 points a game. Between them tonight, 18 points and 12 rebounds.
Yeah, credit the Sun Devils with playing some tough defense underneath on the big guys.
Yeah, their zone has not given them any room to work. The rebounding is starting to creep even. It's 20-25 and an 8-12 on the offense. But the shooting percentage, 36% in the second half for Arizona State. They've got to bring that up if they want to stay in this ballgame.
That's a far cry from what Arizona did. They shot 76% from the floor in the second half here.
That's tough to do in shoot-around.
And it helped them. Washington led much of the night, and Arizona came roaring past to score that 9-point victory. So everybody was paying attention to the undefeated UCLA and Oregon, but don't forget about Lute Olson's guys as well.
Very competitive Pac-10, as we talked about earlier.
2 of 5, 2 rebounds. He does not have an assist. Distribution again tonight has not been the deal, although Arizona State has done enough to stay within single digits. Glasser catching, shooting, and missing long, just beating the shot clock, but Gunu with the rebound. A rare offensive board here in the second half for Arizona State. Polk, only his second field goal attempt, but another offensive rebound for the Sun Devils. Glasser again goes long, and Gunu. Boy, that's like ball return machine at the bowling alley.
3 offensive rebounds in a row for Serge.
Born in Cameroon.
Speaks 4 languages, fluent.
Underneath, tough shot by Tuaney. Gunu calls Albuquerque, New Mexico home. He closes down Nelson, finds Brockman, fouled by Pendergraft. Boy, that was a tough foul on Jeff Pendergraft. Just happened to be there as Brockman brought his hands up to shoot. That's 4.
Yeah, that's a nice pass. He moved into him on that one. The foul before that, you could debate, but that one he definitely got him. And it's his 4th foul.
I ignored the body slam. Brockman 2 consecutive trips to the free throw line. He is working on his 7th double-double of the season.
See, Bob, as we talked earlier, ASU was toying with keeping that score under 6. It just keeps inching a little bit further away. Now they're playing at 7 and 8.
Blocking foul is called underneath on Artem Wallace. Tuaney will get a pair. Romar, the look says it all.
Here's Antwi going strong. Oh boy, I think they missed that one, Bob. I think he was there.
Yeah, I thought so too. But you know what? At the other end before, I thought, forget who got the foul at that one.
Pendergraft.
Polk. No, then
Polk.
it was. No, you're right. It was Pendergraft. I thought Pendergraft had Brockman in jail under the basket. They gave Brockman 2 shots.
Haas is back on the floor for the Huskies. Brockman takes his seat with Bob Weiss, Tom Kuiper, Brooke Olzendam, Brian Davis at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle, where the free throw by Atune has just cut Washington's lead back to 6 points. But in the pace of this game, 6 points might as well be 15 unless somebody starts hitting some shots.
And it just feeds right into ASU's game plan of keeping the game slow, the pace slow, and the score low.
Pendergraft 12 points in the first half, only 2 in the second, and now you just saw he's on the bench. Aguno commits his 4th personal foul. And that's where you talk about war of attrition. Sometimes it becomes such with only a 7-man rotation. You need both those guys, and they're both sitting with 4.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem now. Coach Sendek's got to kind of think if he's going to leave Serge in there, and that's what they're talking about on the bench right now. You see the assistant coaches talking through that. Do you leave Serge out there with 4, or do you go to someone who hasn't played yet? Tough decision.
You know, I think if they don't score this time, he's just got to go with his troops. And if they can play without the foul trouble and last for the game, you got a chance, because you can't let Washington pull away.
Morrill looking for an option, decides to take it into the lane on Haas, fades away, rebound to the 7-footer Haas. Half a dozen for him tonight. Denman switches to the left hand. Oliver thought about it for just a moment, but at this point maybe you use a little clock here as well, as the Huskies move it around, leading by 6 with 5.5 minutes remaining in regulation. Morrill read that well. Denman didn't put enough air under it.
Yeah, not a good pass.
Yeah, nice job by Alan Morrell to step in front and get that pass. But it really affects the Devils offensively when you've got Jeff Pendergraft sitting on the bench, because you don't really have an inside threat.
Seth Morrill loses the basketball, turned into Haas, lost control, and it goes as a turnover against the Sun Devils.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Sendek bring his troops back pretty quick and just have to gamble.
Let's look at this. Alan Morrell stepping in front, and because he stepped in front, he intercepts the pass. ASU gets it.
But at the other end, he commits their 14th turnover of the night. Oliver appeared to knock that out of bounds, but last touched a man in maroon, and Christian Polk is looking at the official here on the near side, Kevin Brill, saying that's 2 now that have gone that way. Romar sets up a play. Sendek watching from the other end. His first season at ASU after 10 at North Carolina State. How about 5 for Ryan Appleby? 5 as in 3-point shots. 5 of 6, 6 of 8 overall, 17 points to lead all scorers.
And he shot it from the Bank of America logo again.
That's such a fast release, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. You know, you think he's catching a hot horseshoe or something. He just lets it go.
9-point lead, UW's biggest of the night. 9-point lead for the homestanding Washington Huskies. Each of these teams looking for its first Pac-10 victory of the year. As we swing into our Red Lobster nothing but net shot of the night. Appleby with the hot hand. Now 5 out of 6 beyond the arc. This is clearly, fellas, his best night of the year as a starter. His 6th start, 17 points to lead all scorers.
And that's what we call an Appleby layup. You see him right here. He's covered in the zone. But now, since they're in the zone, nobody goes with him, and they try to run at him, and he gets that shot off so fast, it's nothing but net.
Appleby, 6 of 8 from the floor. I wonder if the haircut has helped his performance as a starter. Still got the curly thing going. I'm not jealous or anything. I just want to make that clear. But as we pointed out early in the first half, in his 5 previous starts, Appleby scoring the ball 32% of the time. 3-pointers tonight, 7 out of 11, and that is part of the difference. A big part of the difference.
Yeah, and right now with the Devils down by 9, they can't go into panic mode, because as soon as you go into panic mode, the pace starts to pick up.
Well, Pendergraft playing courageously with 4 fouls with the flush off the miss.
And Coach Sednick is back in with his horses. He says, hey, you know, I'm not going to win with them on the bench, so I'm going to see how long I can have him out there.
Yeah, you have to.
Wallace posting up Angunu, and oh, he's done. And I'm going to guess that Romar said he's got 4, go after him, and they did, and he's gone.
There's no question. That's exactly what you do when someone's got 4 fouls. You take it to them.
And here at the B of A, left, right, every step he takes, left, right, and when he gets to the edge of the bench and gets ready to take his seat, he gets the derisive sit down. Did you ever hear that here?
We do the same thing in Tempe. You guys thought you were the originators of that, huh?
You know, college basketball could be a good thing or a bad thing that the students sit so close. Take note that over in Pullman, Washington, and again, viewers on FSN Arizona and in selected areas and on Comcast cable here, sit down.
They fooled him. He didn't sit. He just started to sit. I was waiting for somebody to do that.
You're going to see Washington State, Arizona coming up. Washington State has now moved its students all the way down to the floor.
Well, I'm telling you, those students are excited about their team, Brian. I mean, in years past, they don't get that many students that come out, but now they're excited about what they're seeing. Tony Bennett's doing a great job.
Wallace got a lane violation against Washington, so the second shot doesn't count. Brockman back on the floor. Wallace sits. Oliver, Brockman, Nelson, Haas, and Appleby. Polk, Pendergraft, Glasser, Morrill, and Atune for the stretch run for Arizona State.
So no points off that call, but they do lose Serge.
Serge Angunu has fouled out of the ball game. And a jump ball earned by Spencer Hawes. A held ball, possession arrow favors Washington. Now they've got the ball with that 7-point lead. And from here you can see Tempe. See, she's got the shirt that says UW Girls Rock, and they have 9 straight wins, 5 in the Pac-10. You'll see Washington's women tomorrow night here on, or tomorrow morning here on FSN, 11:30 at Arizona State. Coming up after this game, NBA ball on FSN Northwest. Washington State at Arizona if you get the FCS Pacific package on Comcast Cable, FSN Arizona, and every place else that you're watching the broadcast tonight. You will get those surprising Washington State Cougars against the battle-tested Wildcats of the University of Arizona, which came in here and won the other night by 9. Cougars defeated the Sun Devils by 20. Just opened it up big time in the second half, which Washington has not been able to do here, but they've done enough.
Yeah, and who knows what Washington State can do with Arizona in Pullman. Washington State just playing extremely well.
Christian Polk has not even been a part of this tonight. Their leading scorer for Arizona State is on the bench as Morrill rebounds Haas's miss.
Still a tight game, though. A lot of time left.
Haas 4 out of 12. Sendek needs time. He'll take 30. Let's go back to the concept here, fellas, of your leading scorer being on the bench at crunch time. Christian Polk, the freshman from Glendale, Deer Valley High School, right in the middle with 14 on. In between the assistant coaches is back to us. This is a guy, 14 points a game leads them. He takes 25% of their shots.
Yeah, and the Huskies have done such a great job with their scouting report on Christian Polk. He's only taken 2 shots tonight, making a 3, and that's it.
Bob, as a coach, you hate to see it. Sendek, I promise you, hates to see the fact that a lot of times Polk is over here on the weak side, just standing in the corner while the play goes on. He's not even moving.
Well, you know, you don't know exactly why, but I do know that Washington is very good at having a game plan and taking somebody out of their game, and so, you know, hopefully I'd credit that more with than his lack of movement.
Well, he'll get a lot of chances as his career continues, because you chalk this up to an off night and don't let the snapshot be the judgment of this young man. Washington attempting to close out its 8th consecutive victory over Arizona State. Polk takes a look, doubled up by Appleby. And Bob, to your point about the defense that Washington has played on him tonight. He goes to the left hand and shoots over Appleby. Brockman's rebound. He has 9. One more, and it's his 7th double-double of the season. Huskies will take their time, drain as much game clock as they can, as well as shot clock, and Appleby has it again. 6 3-pointers, 20 points on the night for Ryan Appleby, who has shaken the maladies that plagued him as a starter. Polk.
And you know what? You can't even fault the defense for that. They had 2 guys running at him with a hand in his face. He catches it and gets it off in a half a second. Amazing.
But he screwed up. He wasn't on the bank logo, Bob.
Well, you know what? He's just showing his versatility.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that. 4 hands on him. 4 hands in his face. Man.
Spencer Haas picks up his 3rd personal foul, but Washington has still had a foul to give. Pendergraft takes a nice pass inside from Glasser and scores. Jeff Pendergraft has 18 tonight, plus 8 rebounds, 8 of 13 shooting from the floor. So he's done what he could to compensate.
And I think that Appleby basket kind of topped it off. They're just going to eat the clock now, and it's going to be tough for them to make up an 8-point difference with them taking 30 seconds off every clock.
Polk has had an off night. Serge Angunu with 3 points tonight. Appleby says, oh, what the heck. He's just a little bit long. Glasser beats Oliver to the rebound. 2-on-1 break. This is Ship. Short.
Boy, Jaron was off balance, leaning to his right, and just didn't have momentum going up. His momentum was going right.
No, but you almost needed a 3, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You needed to take it, but, yeah, balance wasn't quite there.
ASU 4 is 17 from 3. In the Arizona State media guide, they ask, all right, what, in your opinion, what's your toughest road trip? And Angunu says it's to Washington. Well, shut out. Nothing. No points, no rebounds, no nothing the other night at Washington State. 3 points here. Do you think?
Yeah, it's a long road trip. It's almost a road trip within a road trip when you have to get to Pullman, and then when it's snowing and the blizzard over there. And, you know, we're used to about 70 degrees in Phoenix and Tempe.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Yeah. So it snows in Pullman, and it rains here in Seattle.
It rained threes tonight.
Oh, I did it ever. And we do need the rain. We need the snowpack in the mountains to generate electricity and to have enough water left over for the fish ladders for the salmon to go back and spawn. So it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Greenpeace.
Polk firing to Ship, and he scores.
See the difference when he gets his feet underneath him? Much better looking shot.
And 6 points.
6-point game with 1:05. A timeout taken. It is a full timeout taken by Arizona State.
Nice pass. Jaron's feet underneath him. Bingo. Look at him again. Once his feet are underneath him, he goes straight up. Good rotation on the ball. That's when he shoots his best.
Well, you know, again, a great pedigree with his brother Josh at UCLA, Joe at California back in the day. Is Jaron the baby of the family? I use that term advisedly, of course.
And you know, the thing about Jaron, he's such a soft-spoken kid. Just a really nice kid. Gets along with everybody. Everybody likes to be with him. He's a good guy to have on that team. He kind of creates that family unity within the Devils.
Okay, time to play coach, everybody. Do you start fouling now?
I'm out.
Do you start fouling now? If you do, you're going to have to score about 5 or 6 times. If you play defense hard once and get a stop, now if you make it 3, you're down 3, and then you can start fouling if you needed to.
The last foul by Arizona State was on Sendek's orders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, now it's only a 2-possession game, though.
That's exactly right. So that changes the dynamic.
Right.
See, if ASU can get a stop here, come down and score right away, there's a lot of time still.
Or they might pick one man and say, hey, if Brockman gets the ball, we take the foul. If Appleby takes it, we don't.
Oh.
I think he called time.
Yeah,
he
he called time, and then he tried to throw it in.
Yes, he did.
The old fake timeout play didn't work.
Justin Denton, the sophomore out of Carbondale, Illinois. Ryan Appleby
Player
has taken the lead tonight, taking advantage, full advantage of Arizona State's defense in that zone.
And how tough was this decision tonight to make Ryan Appleby player of the game? He had a great ball game.
Appleby is our singular player of the game. 6 out of 8 from 3-point range, 7 out of 10 overall, 20 points to lead all scorers in this ball game tonight. 1 out of 2 from the deuce. Well, but you know, if you look at his numbers, his percentages, he takes a very high percentage beyond the arc, and again, why not?
Sure.
Although to the other side of that, as Denton is fouled by Polk, to the other side of that, he's a very good free throw shooter.
Well, he is, but he doesn't have the great knack of, you know, he doesn't have that blazing speed where he gets you in trouble and is able to draw many fouls. So his game kind of lends itself to, okay, nail the 3, penetrate a little bit, make the play. He'll do that. But some people just have trouble getting to the line.
Well, Bob, they're going with the fouls early. 8-point lead now.
Yeah, so now already you've got to score 3 times, and you're going to have to take more fouls.
Washington suddenly 11 out of 16 from the line. Arizona State is 12 out of 16. A lot of this, though, in the last couple of minutes as the Huskies have gone to the line, and the Sun Devils playing some percentages hasn't worked out.
And now the Devils are just kind of building themselves a little deeper of a hole here. 8 points with just a couple seconds more than a minute left to play.
But you know what? You got to take a chance. You know, for it to work, you got to foul somebody. They got to miss the free throws, or at least one where you can pick up a couple more points. And you can never tell. When one guy steps up there and misses 1 or 2, all of a sudden is catching, and that fouling can be very, very effective.
The reward for Derek Glasser in Arizona State for this hard-fought trip to the Bank of America Arena is Oregon. which has just knocked off UCLA, #1 team in the country. They'll be in 10B next week. Brockman has the double-double, and he's fouled. 7 double-doubles on the season now for the sophomore from Snohomish, Washington. And he'll get a couple of free throws. Washington, after wrapping up what, barring the strike of lightning now at this point, and we hardly ever hear thunder and lightning, unlike the Valley here in the Puget Sound. Washington will go to 11-4, 1-3 in the Pac-10, and will play on Thursday at Stanford. That is a game that we'll have right here regionally on FSN.
Well, you know, the problem with fouling the Huskies, too, is they're shooting 71% as a team from the free throw line. That's the 4th best in the Pac-10.
Yeah, they got a lot of good free. Of course, he's got his free throw shooters in there now, too, with the exception of Brockman, who just made both of those.
Glasser has no choice at this point. 43 seconds remaining. 30 rebounds aside. Arizona State was bidding to become the first team to outboard the Huskies all season long. Again, they get after the other guy to the tune of 35-29. Check that, 41-30, 35-29 is Arizona State's advantage. Coming up next on FSN Northwest for our viewers in the Seattle area, the NBA, Washington State at Arizona on the side channel, Sonics and Golden State on the main channel, and then everybody in Arizona and the rest of our viewing audience will get Washington State at home against the University of Arizona. And as Polk takes a run at the rack, Appleby is called for the personal. At this point, we're talking academics. Washington with an 11-point lead. Christian Polk, a 76% free throw shooter, had 13 points at Washington State, but this has just not been his night. 3 on the score sheet.
You know, Tom, I think Coach Sendek really had a good game plan. I thought his players executed it. They were in. You know, this game's going to stretch out a little more to more lopsided than you think because of the free throws they're forced to commit right now. But they were in this ball game.
Sendek said after a loss recently, look, I'm not going to be like Eeyore, which is a dangerous thing, by the way, to say to a writer. You sort of trust that they'll know what you're talking about. But Eeyore, the sad sack donkey, and Winnie the Pooh, he says there are an awful lot of ways to keep score, and what Herb Sendek is keeping score right now of is the progress of his team. He's thin, lost the Krugers, both of them. Kevin went back to play for his dad. Bryson dismissed from the team. There's some firepower there that you missed, and at this point you play with the hand that you're dealt, and Sendek understands that.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know, coming from North Carolina State. His last 5 seasons over there took his team to the tournament. So it's hard pulling up 10th place in the Pac-10. I know he's feeling that.
Well, you know, anytime you look at the good coaches that go to new programs, and it's almost always a 2-year period before they can start getting it turned around.
Appleby's rebound off Morial's miss, and Sendek says, let him go. So Washington to 11-4 on the season, 1-3 in the Pac-10. Going to Stanford next week. Arizona State will head home to face Oregon, falling to 6-9 and 0-4 in the Pac-10. The Sun Devils now with a 5-game overall losing streak. So now for Bob Weiss, Tom Kuiper, Brooke Olzendam, and the gang in the truck and on the floor here at the Bank of America Arena. I'm Brian Davis saying so long, Washington over the Sun Devils, 64-53, Arizona at Washington State. Next on FSN.